Hey everybody, it's Tafony here once again. Today's rambling about is going to be on the Synths Black Joystick 2. A couple things to get out of the way, as always. First off, sorry for the lack of videos lately. If you are a regular watcher, I was in the middle of moving. As you will probably notice here around me, things are changing. Thankfully, we were able to find a place. Thankfully, we were able to actually get something a little bigger. So, yeah, studio space, dedicated space. Very excited for that. Thank you for your patience. I know I was ripping videos out every day, sometimes more than one a day, but hopefully that can resume quickly now. Some disclaimers to get through, as I do every video. This series isn't sponsored or anything like that. This is just my own thoughts, opinions. It's not journalism. It's just vlog style format rambling about. This video being on the Synths Black Joystick 2. I have no affiliation with Synths or anything like that. With all of that out of the way, it sounds like this. I think we're going to demonstrate it in the way that I think is the most straightforward, and to me, I think using CV to control a filter cutoff is some of the most apparent way to show modulation, right? So yeah, I mean, I could, and maybe I will do that as well, plug it into the oscilloscope and show you in that way, but I think Joystick is all about performance, and in the LFO demos and the other videos, it was a little, or I thought it was best to just demo it with the filter cutoff because it makes it, there's no, yeah, maybe it doesn't show the exact voltage and stuff, but you can see the performance aspects of moving the joystick and how that adjusts the filter cutoff. And it can modulate anything, obviously, but that is the best way to demo it, I think. So, that being said, if I'm sending it a sequence, and I hope you can still hear me. So yeah, this is our sequence. Now, before I go over that, I just want to go over the panel first quick. So, Synths Black Joystick 2 is, I'm going to also make a lot of comparisons to the Planar, because I had two Planar 1s. I still have a Planar 1. I have never tried the Planar 2, but when I was shooting them out head-to-head, I was kind of like, what do I want to use the Black Joystick 2 for, or what do I want to use a Joystick 2 for? And I think what I want to use it for is in the Black Joystick 2 more than is in the Planar 2. So what we have is, in no particular order, we have 4 channels of joystick controlled and joystick controllable CV modulation, and there's 2 gates. There is unique outputs for the X and Y for each channel. There is record controls for looping back your feedback, sort of LFO style, or not feedback, looping back your CV recordings. That was my killer feature. That's what I really was missing from my Planar 1s. The big difference, I think, and if you think there's bigger differences too, let me know in the comments, but the big difference for me when deciding between the Joystick 2 and the Planar 2 was Joystick 2 has the 4 channels, where planar is like one channel if you were looking at it that way, but planar does mono audio rate mixing, and the Joystick 2 does not. Now, the audio mixing was very cool, but I always wanted to use it end of chain in what would definitely be a stereo situation. So I thought, you know what? If they made a stereo planar 2 that could do that audio mixing, that would be super useful. But for me, the mono at the end of the chain, I'm just like, I'm not. It was fun, but I want this for CV modulation. I love knob recorders. I love easy modulation and control. So there's different ways. If you put it in one of the 4 channels in one of the 4 modes, one of them is joystick mode. So without recording it, you just noodle your CV voltage, and this is on. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but we're going to jump right in. So I'm in selecting channel 1 right now, so I can noodle around because I'm in joystick mode. And one of the other things that I like about it for performance stuff is that you can use the joystick mode to set voltages. So right now I bring the X up a little and the Y up a little, and then I'll leave that, switch over to channel 2, and moving this around here, you'll see that my voltage stayed the same on there. So if I, let's say, have my X and Y patched to one module in the first channel, and my X and Y in the second channel patched to another one, I can make some CV modulations here. And then in the third channel, the same thing, and move on to the fourth, the same thing. And yeah, I like, to me, this is just like finding easy modulation. I find kind of finicky in Eurorack sometimes. Like I just want something that's really easy to grab, and what could literally be easier to grab than a freaking joystick. And yeah, that's what I'm after. Now, it does lots of other things, and we're going to go over lots of other things, but what I'm after is a lot of recordable CV modulation that's wiggleable with the joystick. Before I go through the other modes too, I'll just show you how this is recorded as well. So right now, everything's in static CV. So if I go back to channel 1, you'll see I'm moving the X and Y values. So if you remember your trigonometry, shows how much I remember, the X-axis is horizontal and the Y-axis is vertical. So you see we've got our negative and positive voltages, and then same for the X. Now, I don't think there's a way to reverse which is negative and which is positive, but yeah, it is that way. And that's how those two work in the joystick mode. We're just in joystick mode across all 4 channels. One thing I'm going to complain about before I even talk about the recording of the joystick is I wish this was clockable, because I wish there was a way to hard sync your stop and starts to the tempo. And I don't think it's going to be a big issue, but it would be nice if you could just know for certain that, like, we have our 4-bar loop, and if I want to make some modulations to it, is it like, if let's pretend I'm doing the most boring techno set ever and I'm playing for an hour straight, is my slight timing variation of my recording gonna get really out of sync after half an hour? I don't know. But yeah, I just wish it had something to that effect. I would easily trade those gate 3 and 4 outs for a clock syncability in. Now, let's do the recording now. So, before we get into the different modes, because for me, honestly, I'm just going to be using the joystick mode 90.9% of the time or whatever. But you can record, so we are recording loop back. So you have to hold it and press recording, and you'll see now it's going. We're going to get into demoing this now. So let's bring our loop back in. Now, there's only one CV input for the cutoff, obviously, so I have to make a choice between the X and the Y. I don't expect both of them to go into the same one, obviously, but like just something to think about, that like, yeah, you can 360 degree move everything and that will work, but just consider that left to right is probably how I'm going to do it, or up or down. I'm going to say X is the axis I want to go on. So now let's hear it. I know, isn't that exciting? Well, let's go to the second channel because I just did a quick demo in the first one. So if I go to second, now real quick, I'll just show you that joystick mode without recording along the x-axis. There's my filter sweep. This is what I love, right? It's just, if you were doing live performance, and yeah, in this specific scenario, this is more performative. But just if that was cut off in your filter that's running the drums, or distortion amount on a synth that you had running in, like, super performative. I love performative crap. And I know that might not be to your taste, but like everything in your rack, maybe there's a use for it for you. Maybe there's not, and that's okay too. Yeah, so filtering it up. High pass. Back low. Very cool. So let's try and record some. I'll hold it down. So I'm gonna like rehearse this now. So right. So what's a loopable thing I'd want to do to a filter? So let's go like a high pass. Back to middle. Okay. So let's start in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I release the record, it's just going to go right away. I can override the CV recording live by jumping in here and noodling, but it will go back to my recorded loop when I let go. So it's doing my loop. I come in, I noodle. But then when I let go, back to my loop. So I really like that. You can always grab it, right? You go. Yeah, that's awesome. And then, yeah, well, just for funsies, let's go to the Y. Maybe if you had a mult to combine these sources, maybe some like craziness on the other hand. I don't know. I like that too. So let's overwrite it now. Go hold record. See, I just love the simplicity of that, right? Like modulation always seems like I need to sync my LFO. Is the level right? Is the blah blah blah? Is the division of the clock correct? Is the waveform correct? Like all of these things are just like grab the joystick and wiggle it. Yeah, this is what I would say 90% of my use for the joystick would be, is like that. But if we take this out now and we'll go into a third channel, switch over to that one. Let's try some different modes. So there is 4 modes. There is, hold this down, you'll see, hold down the mode button. I hope I'm not blocking it. If you hold down the mode button, not mold, the mode button, you can see we're in joystick mode. If we switch to sine mode, we have an LFO. And I think this actually goes up to audio, right? So yeah, sine mode's going. If we slow it down, it's LFO. See, it's not clock, so I don't like using this as an LFO. I don't know. Like, maybe there's use for this for you. But I think what they've said a lot with this is you can use this for audio rate stuff. So this could be your oscillator, which is kind of crazy. We are going to demo that in a second because I think that'll be fun to check out. But because I've actually never checked it out. But yeah, you can see our gate output is syncing to that as well. which is cool for the audio rate stuff. Very, very interesting. So let's get over to the third mode, which is random, and now it's going to give us random voltages, but they can be influenced by the joystick. So how much randomness do you want? Do you want none? Or do you want to introduce lots? So this is like probability, I guess. So now filter cutoff, not necessarily the best demonstration of randomness, but just think about like performative tool, right? So if you're using data bender or something, you can send it out to that. Start out with no randomness, and then we want to bring in some glitches. Just I guess it does. It slices this up too, right? So, yeah. Had to look up what SNU meant. I thought it was some sort of slew limiting thing. It actually stands for south, north, east, west. Yeah, so this turns the joystick into a voltage-controlled, like, compass, I guess. So you'll see X is positive in the north position, and Y is positive in the south position, and then neither are in the west or east positions, but if you get into mixes of those two, we'll just, yeah. Interesting, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have a use for that one, but, yeah. Like I said in Eurorack, there is a use for every freaking thing, so tell me in the comments where you would use that. The manual says that it is best used for controlling different VCAs and panning in between them, basically sending that voltage to the VCA. It doesn't do the panning like the planner does. But yeah, I don't have a demo for that one. High pass. Super useful, super easy. I love the simplicity. Yeah, people in the comments love to tell me that I am a simpleton for not understanding this, that, and the other thing from complicated modules that they like, but I want the size of the system to be complicated across the different modules. I don't want every individual module to require use of the manual for every single thing, and I love how easy it is to just grab and play this. So simple modulations always at your reach. So you know what, I want to move a little bit of filter on this one. Let's do that. Just record that in. I'll do something like this, audition it. So yeah, hit record, 2 hands even. That's doing it. Let's go grab channel 2. And we'll grab the X from that one. And you know what? What's a good? You know what? Let's bring in some reverb, actually. Let's bring in the blend. So yeah, channel 2, mode is in joystick, so. Overseer on, bring in some of our master, record a little movement there too. And then make use of our other channels as well. Third one, maybe let's put our third channel in random mode for fun. And I'm going to randomize the mix of our other reverb. How much randomness do we want to have? Or I can send that to the accent input of my snare, and this might be so subtle that it's hard to hear, but let's do lots of random. Turn turn off that filter sweep just so you can hear it a little better. Bringing that snare up, or that clap really loud just so you can hear what's going on. Less randomness. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I really, just the simplicity of it. What can I say about that? There's the gates mode as well, actually. Sorry. Let's do that real quick. So when you're moving it, the gate's on, and when you let it go, the gate stops. So what could you use that for? Well, let's find something that has a useful gate. And what I could do with that actually is we'll move the mix modulation. Move the mix modulation of our, sorry, the blend modulation on our, we'll move the blend modulation from our first channel or our second channel, the blend modulation on Desmodus Versio, from the second channel into the fourth channel, which has a gate output, and then we'll use the gate output to control the FSU input, which accepts gate, so I believe it'll sound like that. So if we go to 4-channel now, and mode will be joystick, which is perfect, so we can bring in a lot of mix. Just do something that really, it's easy for you to hear. So if we do that, and you'll see the gate come in. And I like this because I can, if we bring the mix down really low and hold the gate in, so while it's moving, it's gonna, yeah, hit that FSU button. So if I keep it moving, the gate's gonna stay open. And yeah, that's way too crazy, but you know, just the things that you can do, right? So what if we record that now, though? So go hit record. It's gonna stay on. I don't really want it to stay on the whole time, so let's do a long recording. Let's go. Hold it, record, the gate's on. Just to demo it, you know? But yeah. Very cool. Before we leave, actually, let's do one other thing. Let's take our other outputs out. And let's do the audio rate. Now I'm just going to run the audio output of the Black Joystick 2 into the, sorry, I should actually do that for that one, so let's reboot. So we're going to take our mode and put it in sine mode, to channel 1, in mode, sine. So now we are in the sine mode, and if we increase the rate, it'll go up to audio rate, I believe. And now I do need to show you that. Now, while that's droning on, I actually think that sounds really nice into Desmo. Too much resonance. Yeah. There's some wave folding going on, so don't expect that sound out of it, straight out of the joystick. But yeah, there's an oscillator in there too. I'm not full pro octave tracking or anything like that. It's just droning away. It's the sine mode. Wave folded. While that's droning on, I just wanted to say too, there's a million other things you can do with this. Like I say in every video, I could never demo every use for it, but one really important use for it, or one great use for it that I think you could be really useful in your patches or what have you, is using this, sending it into a quantizer, and writing melodies by wiggling. Right, this is audio right now, but yeah, send it into a quantizer and write a melody through wiggling away, right? Like drawing out your melody through use of a quantizer. I think that would be sick. But yeah, this video's already way too long, so I'm gonna stop it with that. But I think if you're after a modulation source that's really simple, like a knob recorder or something like that, you can't beat the simplicity of the Joystick 2, at least I think. The one thing I actually dislike about it, other than the missing clock ability, is the joystick itself feels a little notchy, and in that I mean like there's almost like a rail between the X and Y that it if I'm going corner to corner, you can feel dead spots almost. Like it's just, the trim isn't perfect, you know what I mean? There's some squaring of the edges, if that makes sense. Whereas the Planar 1, and I've never tried the Planar 2, it might be the exact same as this one. The Planar 1 felt just a little higher quality, I guess. But this is almost $150 cheaper than the Planar 2, so I'm really happy with it in spite of all that. So yeah, before I ramble on all day, that was rambling about the Erica Synths Black Joystick 2. I'm Tafony. Thank you so much for watching, and take care. I'll talk to you soon. Alright, let's do a little jammy jam.